taking scraps. We shall be here, of course, with the football gang. Watakuwa hapa kudiscuss na kuchambua hiyo mambo yote hapa. Remember also Harambee Stars this evening we'll be taking on Chad in an international friendly in Marrakesh, Morocco. Yani nilikuwa natoka tu na wao wakilanda wakitayarisha kucheza. Kumbuka pia Harambee Starlets were there, they played against the home team and they were thrashed, clobbered. And I'll tell you the reasons why Morocco, both the ladies and the men's teams are very dreaded, and why Morocco is a top team on the FIFA World Rankings currently in the world, of course in Africa. So tutakuwa tunamwambia ni kwa nini. I was there, I saw also their museum, how they have really conserved and preserved their football history to remind generations here from now, of course, from the early 1990s till now. There's a museum that displays how big or how Morocco has advanced and progressed in matters to do with football. So niko na story mingi kutoka Morocco, ndio maana nimekuja kuvaa kama king, kama His Majesty King Mohammed VI, who is the current king. And of course, I didn't go alone in Morocco. I was with kijana mkubwa anajiita Jijo, ama mkipenda George Kuria Kinyanjui, who was my camera engineer in Morocco. And of course, we have really lined up lovely stories for you. And of course, this was courtesy of the Kingdom, the Embassy of the Kingdom of Morocco here in Nairobi, who, of course, were gracious enough to ensure we had a wonderful stay in Morocco to visit all those cities in Morocco. Now, wacha tuanze na neno ya Harambee Stars. Now, I have Harambee Stars. Tuanze na Starlets ama Harambee Stars. Wacha tuanze na Harambee Starlets. Remember, they already jetted back in the country from Morocco, where they were playing an international friendly. Walipigwa mabao karibu 5 na, of course, though they had at least one consolation goal. And wacha tuangalia picha zao. Of course, tulikuwa na training yao ya kule Morocco. And of course, we're hearing information or news coming in from the Harambee Starlets inside the changing room is that Coach Beldino Demba seems to be thinking about throwing in the towel. These are unconfirmed reports about what will be happening in the national team for the women's football team. Beldino Demba seems, what we have unconfirmed reports is that Beldino Demba is likely to throw in the towel because pressure is on her to give results, but looks like hiyo team inamkimbiza sana. However, she's such a huge asset to the national team. And we hope, of course, she can be able to stay or be kept in that particular squad to maintain that progression and to ensure the team progresses as they have always been doing. So clearly, of course, as you can see the highlights on your screen. And the reason why we are showing this, I was in Morocco and I looked at the football facilities or the football infrastructure in Morocco. Like this country is not building stadiums. That's the thing that they need to correct. They are actually renovating and upgrading the existing facilities. And they have enough facilities. Remember, the Women's Africa Cup of Nations will be held in Morocco. And already they have more than enough facilities. In fact, they have actually presented more facilities, more football facilities in the history of this competition. I think they're giving around 9 or is it 6 stadiums that have never been provided for a Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament. You can imagine what Morocco is. And this is a country that is also gearing up for the 2030 co-hosting of for the World Cup. So this, of course, are some of the tidbits, of course, I'm giving you in relation to how Morocco is serious about sports. And the reason also why I'm dressed like this, dressed like the Majesty King Mohammed VI, is because the king in Morocco is someone who loves sports very much. Now, the previous king is called King Hassan. I think he's King Hassan the second or the first. Also was a king who loved sports very much. And that's why Morocco is flourishing in sports. And that's why I'm dressed like the king, just to remind our leaders that they need to be like king and the kings of Morocco. Let's listen into some of the bites, or the comments, of course, that were made after that game between Harambee Starlets and the national women's team in Morocco.
At least mmetupangia kitu ya kufanya, so na believe tuko like tuna learn cheza zote, na pia ya leo kwa team naweza sema tumelearn a lot kulingana na timu yetu, bado tunaibuild, so wenye wamejoin team wamelearn, so itatusaidia kwa game yenye iko mbele yetu. At least hiyo naweza sema imetusaidia a lot. Federation wazidi kutupa hata friend nyingine, bado tuko hapa kulearn. Football ni kulearn.
Now, something else literally about Morocco is, and I've not been paid in any way to really speak about Morocco. I'm just trying to instill some knowledge into some of those relevant people who actually are policymakers in sports in the country. Now, Morocco has made it very deliberate. You see these friendlies that are currently being played in Morocco. Harambee Stars this evening are playing against Chad in Morocco. A host of other countries also have made Morocco to be their hosting nation for their friendlies or for their games. Now, this is not just something they're doing for trial and error. This is very deliberate, just to show and highlight what kind of prowess that Morocco has in terms of the facilities and the preparedness they have. Personally, I witnessed their preparedness from sports infrastructures to hospitals to security to hotels. They are indeed ready to host a World Cup, let alone the Africa Cup of Nations that will be held in December all the way to January. And we're hoping, of course, we'll be able to, TV47 and Radio 47 will be able to be in Morocco in December, really to show you the Africa Cup of Nations, how things will be. We are looking forward to that. Tunaomba tutaweza kupeleka kule. But as you can see, of course, on your screens, this is our national team, Harambee Stars, who are preparing for the international friendly against Chad today, of course. And later on, of course, they'll be having another, should be another fixture on the 10th, should be against the same team. And the facilities you're seeing there, they have a stadium. Like, for example, let me just give you an example of the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium, one of their very iconic facilities in Rabat. Now, there is an Olympic stadium where, you remember, most of you watched TV47, we brought you the exclusive story about the Rabat Diamond League 2025. The Olympic Stadium hosted that particular athletics event. Now, that stadium also can have a football match staged right there. Now, during that athletics event, it was full to the brim. And it's just an athletic event. Yani ni athletics. Now, you can imagine football, how it will be. Now, next to that particular Olympic stadium where Rabat Diamond League happened, there is a huge new state-of-the-art stadium being upgraded, the Prince Moulay Stadium. And of course, I'll be showing you those pictures later. It's almost at the same particular Olympic stadium. Now, after that, this stadium is being upgraded. There is a futsal stadium already existing and ready to be used at that particular same vicinity. Alafu pia kuna viwanja vya mazoezi in the same area. Yani tunasema kama Kasarani hapo, hiyo stadium iko na viwanja kadhaa. Sisi tuko tuna moja Kasarani. Nitawapatia hizo story vizuri. Niko na picha na exclusives from Morocco. Hizo zitakuwa zinakuja later on. Hapa nitakuwa nadungia vitu kadhaa. This is Sports Extravaganza. Tony Kwalanda here. Thank you for staying with us. It's about 18 minutes after 4 p.m. Kenyan time. I have to remind you that because Morocco is 2 hours behind Kenyan time. Sasa hapa, we definitely are going to discuss, we are shifting just gears a little bit, and we are diving into basketball. Yes, and remember also Morocco is good in basketball. They have basketball facilities, state-of-the-art facilities across all their cities. Name it, Fez, Marrakesh, Rabat, you name them, Tangier, all of them have facilities. In fact, I was able, in one of the nights, I was able to play basketball at a court, a public court that is next to the Atlantic Ocean. And that's why I bring in my guests. We're here, of course, to discuss about the state of basketball in Kenya. Recently, of course, you know, we were at the BAL event, our continental championship in basketball, and with well done to the Nairobi City Thunder indeed for putting our name up there as a powerhouse in basketball. Yes, we are. Ni mambo tu mbili tatu hapa tu zinatusumbuanga kidogo kidogo. So of course, let me bring in my guests. I will allow them to take up the sport. Wacha tuanze na rafiki yangu who I've known for a very long time, who is an international referee, who is a stakeholder in basketball. When I was still toddling in college and high school, alikuwa kwa basketball. Kent, karibu sana. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Welcome. This is Sports Extravaganza. Asanteni sana ku make time. Of course, we also have Okumu, karibu sana, who is also a coach in basketball. And we have Dora Uko, who is a sports lawyer. Karibuni sana, lady and gentlemen. On Sports Extravaganza, hapa tunapiga lugha yote. Kama unaweza piga English, Kiswahili, Sheng, yote, bora audience imesikia. Welcome. It's nice, of course, to have you on our show, and thank you for making time. Tuanze na Kent. Kent, mambo ya sports facilities. Of course, umesikia nikiongea sana mambo ya sports facilities na nikitaja kuhusu how they are developed in countries like Morocco. What is your take on sports facilities in basketball, especially in Kenya? And remember, we have the NBA who have set up camp in Kenya. And where is that? Where are we in terms of actually seeing the influence in Kenya?
Okay, thank you very much, Tony.
Karibu.
What I can say, we are still lagging behind in terms of facilities.
Yes.
Because the only up-to-date international facility we have is Kasarani.
Yes.
And you see, Kasarani was first built and was used in 1990. So if you compare with now the technology, it is still backward. But that is what we lack. Facility is what we lack here in Kenya.
And of course, I'm looking at a situation whereby now basketball is basically domiciled either in high school and they're not developed, or in colleges and they're not very developed. In these other countries we can actually find basketball courts anywhere you go, whether there is a gym like at Uhuru Park, unaweza pata kawanja ka tennis, kawanja ka basketball. Has that ever been discussed, Kent?
It has not, and that's
and what do you think?
That is what we are lagging. Like, I can give you an example, like our neighbors here, Uganda. Uganda, we used to go, even as coaches, referees, we beat them. Now they're above us. Rwanda, they're above us. We are in zone 5. Zone 5, there's Egypt, there's Rwanda, there's South Sudan, there's Uganda. So if you are to come in, we might come in as number 5. And all this is just about facilities, structures, and starting basketball at a youth level, the JSS level. Here we don't. Very few academies are trying, but in a bigger part, that is where the problem is. People play basketball at high school, which is a bit too late to catch up.
Yeah, that's true. Coach Okumu, of course, you nurture talent, you bring up talent, you've worked with talent. Where do you think we are struggling? Where do you think we have an issue, and how can we really address it? Have we tried addressing it? Ama tumesema tu tusonge tu venye kama tusonge tu hivyo iende.
Well, good afternoon again, viewers and our host.
Karibu.
My name is Stewart Okumu, a very passionate basketball enthusiast, and I've been in the spaces of basketball for years.
Yes, for sure.
And you've started from a very, very important item, the infrastructural part. Actually, personally, I grew in Western.
Yes.
And I had a passion of moving to Nairobi because in Western, as a young player, I played for Western Bulls, then played for Masinde Muliro, came to Nairobi to look for better opportunities in basketball. When I came here again, I found what we had there, because in Western we only had one facility, Kakamega Police Canteen. And it was a facility in the police barracks.
Yes.
Accessing it was not easy.
Not for everybody.
Number two, in schools like Kakamega High School, we all know it is a football school. They don't give basketball a very, very great opportunity as compared to other sports. Yes. So you find that those are developed schools that we all know, but still on matters infrastructure, still we are below. On matters talent in those institutions, as I'm a teacher by profession, a primary school teacher, right now teaching in JSS, yes. And I know what bedevils basketball from the grassroots. Yes, you'll have the talents, you'll have the heights, you'll have all that it takes to play basketball. But the part of infrastructure is eating our basketball. The reason is, and we cannot now start throwing stones to the government. Yeah. It is us, the stakeholders from the ground. We are not accountable. Like for us, we can say it is just a failure of giving sports the most seriousness that it deserves. Because if you give these sports seriousness that it deserves, it will give you an opportunity to build a facility. And when you build a facility, we are in the 21st century. You see, with me, okay, you and I, we can easily play even football because we grew up kicking the football. Yes. But it is so bad, you go to places like Dadaab, you find those heights, good abilities of players, but the problem that is bedeviling them is the facilities, the state of art. Yes, we can have the facility there. How best is it going to be utilized? Mm-hmm. You find that not everybody will give it the seriousness it deserves. Mm-hmm. And that one now even kills the basketball. The effect is very clear. When these people see that we are not serious, or the young generation see that we are not serious with sports, and we all know what sports play in a growing up child. Mm-hmm. Yes, we all know the importance of sports. When they feel like even the grown-ups, the people we should look up to, the mentors, are not giving sports.
A lawyer perspective, Dora. What is it that we're not? Is it the people who are in these influential positions, or they have the mandate to really now ensure that we have facilities? Are they doing their job, or are they facing challenges? And from where you sit, and of course from what you've heard from the two gentlemen, what has been going wrong, and how can we address now this issue whereby facilities really have to be taken serious, especially for sports like basketball?
Mm. Yes, thank you, Tony. For me, from my perspective, just like Okumua said, there's a lack of seriousness in handling sports from the very top level up to the grassroots. Yes. Yeah. If our sports was handled, if I can use the word, professionally, then we would have professional facilities. We would have a professional way of acquiring facilities, and like let's say Kasarani. If you want to access Kasarani, you have to pay. You have to make some payments, and whoever is managing the grounds for basketball as possible.
And of course, just before bringing Kent, so what role, especially in the facilities, what role does the government play? What role does the federation play? Or what role does the clubs play? What role does the schools play? Because there has to be someone who jumpstarts that process to really now ensure that at least we have now facilities, because facilities will not come from nowhere. There has to be that push from someone to make it possible. Wapi nani amelalia kazi? Clubs, coaches, players, who was in your own, from where you sit?
From where I sit, in our country, yes. If you want to address basketball, you address the Kenya Basketball Federation. Yes. If you want to come in and see what has been happening in basketball, you ask the Kenya Basketball Federation what is happening. And by the time you go down to the grassroots, you should have been able to find some information, and also the people who are in charge of basketball activities within the federation. And by the time it trickles down to the grassroots, I believe the buck stops at the top, at the federation. And the way the federation handles itself is the way that will trickle down up to the grassroots. That is how they see the federation handling the sport, is how they will look at it. Yeah.
Let me bring Kent. Kent, you've been in this industry. You've been in basketball for all I can remember. I think I can say how many decades? 30 years, 3 decades, 4.
36.
36. You've been here almost. We're doing 4 decades in basketball. And of course, from what we're hearing from Dora, a sports lawyer, federation, the buck stops with the federation. Does it stop with the federation? We have, in my own opinion, we've stagnated. I went to a school, for example, just let me give you, I went to a school called Lubinu Secondary School, and we used to play with slippers on that court, and it's still almost the same court that we use. There's good schools like in Kibabi, Kebianga, all those other ones have very nice courts because they had good relationships or maybe partnerships and parties. Shida iko wapi? How can we, these facilities, you've been there.
Okay.
Na federation, ni federation, ni serikali, ni NBA.
Okay, what I can say, yes, the buck lies with the federation, yes. But I'll blame our team managers. They're the ones that represent the players and the clubs. When they go, they don't push or do anything. Because let's say, okay, our president went and signed a contract with the NBA.
Yes.
He did his part. NBA office was brought in Kenya. How many people have taken an initiative to go to that office? I can tell you, not more than 7. And the office is here. Then we still blame the federation. Then we down there are the ones know that, because basketball has grown. Now for every school, they want to play and have a basketball, even universities. So it still boils down to the team managers. Yes, we blame the federation, but the team managers have to initiate, because it is the same team managers that elect those federation people, not the players. And I'm sorry to say this, 70% of the team managers, some of them never played basketball. He's there because he works with a company, institution, or forces, or organization, or is a university. So there's the touch of feeling that is different from somebody who played the game and somebody who did not play the game. And another thing is, even corporates are there, but they fear to enter into federations. Not only basketball, many federations, even like football, FKF. Everybody here says, yeah, not football. So it is something that even federations have to try to market themselves. It will not come easy. When you compare federations in Kenya and federations that are outside, it's just how goodwill you are. Even if you give me 20 shillings, how well do I manage the 20 shillings? Not I get the 20 shillings, I spend 15 shillings on our personal administrative things, then 5 shillings I spend on the game. That is where we lack. And also the unity within us. If I'm seeing the steward is doing something good, instead of supporting and complimenting, I'm competing and fighting him. When he stops, I will not do what he's doing. So that's another thing that is also killing the sports.
And Kent, you mentioned, okay, I'll come back later. Let me bring in Coach Okumu. From where you sit, you've heard, of course, Okumu, rather Kent saying that team managers work on kama wanalalia kazi. And of course, I'm sure you've been a team manager, or you are a team manager, or you've actually been in that capacity. Is that true? And our federation, the Kenya Basketball Federation.
Yes.
What is it doing not different, or what is it doing that Rwanda is doing? What is KBF doing that South Africa is doing that is making them shine? What is Egypt doing that Kenya Basketball here Federation is not doing to make basketball be a sport that we love? And you can see from the numbers that really turn up for City Thunder, or even for the colleges, or even for the high school. They turn up in large numbers. But Baketu imestagnate. Paka waleo, from where I sit.
Thank you so much for mentioning. I'll applaud my brother Kent for mentioning the federation, yes. KBF, where he sits.
Yes,
I can tell you for free, he has been there, I know him. Steward Okumu is an aspirant of Kenya Basketball President. I've been championing for that since we enacted and brought in the team that is that is in the seat at the moment. Yes. However, when we campaigned for this team that is in the seat, we regret for the loss of our chairman, Mr. Paul Otula, may his soul rest in peace. We read their manifesto. Actually, at that time, the manifesto was good. We wanted him there. We wanted the team that is there in the Kenya Basketball Federation, because they had a very good plan to manage basketball affairs, and they had shown indeed they could manage. We don't want to castigate that they have failed. There are some things they have made that are good. I can applaud the strides they have made of making our team having a maiden competition in the Afrobasket I think we last went to Afrobasket in 28 years ago. We returned in 2021, and that was a golden chance for us to even build up to more achievements. I can tell you for free, that time you remember we beat South Sudan here. And we have been the ones who have even made that South Sudanese team to be where it is today. How has South Sudan gone ahead of us?
And he's number one in Africa.
Luol Deng has done something. He has not taken his personal interests. And that is what is eating our basketball. I can tell you, today, let us face the facts here. I once did a calculation with them, and I told them, a one game of Nairobi City Thunder with the stadium the way it is, and we normally pay, personally I pay to watch those matches. However, there is a thorn in the flesh that they have never wanted to address, the federation. That is the auditing and accountability of the finances. We even don't know anything about that section of finances of KBF. Yet, there is funding that comes in. That one I can tell you for free.
Millions.
Even if we are not getting funding from FIBA or any other organization, there is support from clubs pay registration. Today I can tell you for free, this federation, they are saying they don't pay referees. I can tell you, that one I can tell you for free, if they have started paying maybe this year, when we started piling pressures on them with court orders and everything. But referees are underpaid, if I'm not wrong, or they have got delayed or pending payments. Secondly, players, transfers of players, I can tell you to date, there is a fee that is supposed to be paid. Where does that money go to? That is not an individual's money. It is money meant to build our basketball. I'll tell you, the federation and all the federations in Kenya, if not football, because I've never been close to football, though I played it at some point in Kakamega, there is something that people are running away, including our sports ministry. They don't want to associate themselves with the federations of sports in Kenya, simply because there is lack of accountability. There are many things that they are not coming out clear, because there is a day, the recent competition that we went, we missed one game. We bowed out from that tournament because one game was our cover. We had not arrived, simply because of ticketing. You know what was asked to the federation? Provide your statements of accounts. They have nothing to even demonstrate or display on the table of the Ministry of Sports, which is represented by the federation. So if we start now blaming the team managers, I've been a team manager. We normally submit our dues to the federation. We give whatever they ask us to give, but do they give back what we expect them to give us? My answer is no. I can tell you for free it is no. Because of the league standards, to date, we demanded at the beginning of this season, we need the fixtures of at least even the first leg. I can tell you next week's matches, even teams don't know the venue they will play, or even the teams they're going to play to. Basketball to date, they're still producing fixtures weekly. In the 21st century, there is no website that you can even get the profile of a player today in the 21st century. Maybe I'm not that old, I'm a young man, and I've seen all these things happening. I don't want them to continue because they are eating our basketball. Yes. The generations are going to really, really penalize on us on what, the injustices we have done. So to me, what I can say, up to date, we don't know when elections will be held, but they have exhausted even their terms to be in office. But as they are still there, they should up their game. Those bearers of the office,
yes,
I beseech from the Secretary General, the first Vice Chairman, the Chairman, and wherever, they should just up their game so that we may even have trust in them. They need to win our trust. We shall support them. We shall attend the matches, but with the way things are being done,
yes,
go to Nyayo today. Even the washrooms, the other day we were complaining, games are moved in the very dilapidated facilities that people are changing in public, and those are women exposing themselves.
Hata mimi nimechange hapo tu kwa stairs. So I know, it's a very
it is an embarrassing thing. Look at how Rwanda is today. Rwanda is ahead of us. South Sudan is ahead of us because they have taken basketball seriously. Yeah. Kenya, we are lagging behind because of the institution that is supposed to enable us to grow basketball. I can tell you for free why NBA Kenya here, even the federation fears to go there, simply because The NBA, the NBA offices holders and members who are there, they know who Kenyans are. And it is true. Until we kill that cancer, that you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
They know who Kenyans are. If they want to do anything today for basketball in Kenya, they will not give me money to go and do it. They'll come and do it by themselves. But Kenyans want them to be, they want that money that these organizations want to even use to develop the sport and the facilities. They want them to be given that money for them to do, which they will not do to the standards.
Of course, they'll scavenge it.
Yes,
Dora, let me bring you from a lawyer perspective. Of course, you've heard from Okumu and Kent about the federation. And the federation, despite their problems and their challenges and their misdoings and their misgivings, they are at the forefront of actually doing a lot of the growth in sport. You've had teams. I don't know, from where you sit, should teams, should federations have lawyers or people who can advise and guide them so that now we are always on the same level field? Because it looks like the federation makes the decisions for everybody, and it seems like they don't even consult with the minds that can guide them in terms of actually making the sport flourish.
It's very true. Though we are not at that point economically within our country to be able to be engaging, each team to engage as a lawyer, like specifically for their team.
Yes.
But I believe that is where we need to go. Because like the other day, I was asked to assist a team, a basketball team, for with regard to preparing for elections within their team. You see, if they don't have a lawyer, they have no idea how elections are supposed to be held under the Sports Act. And if the sports registrar attends such election, by the sports registrar has to attend every election, every team. So, and if you don't meet the legal requirements, then your election is invalid. Actually, she will just tell you, you come another day, come back prepared. Yeah? So if you don't have a legal person within your organization, then you will not be able to know what is legally required for you to do as a team, as even our county, as even the federation itself. There is each team, each county, and each federation has its constitution. And the constitution is the one that guides their activities and how they organize and govern themselves. And this constitution is registered with the sports registrar under the Sports Act. And if you have no legal mind within your organization, someone can bring up something that you've not done, and of course you will say, me, I didn't know. And the law does not recognize ignorance. If you don't know, then it means your actions are illegal. And that is part of the reason why I believe you have known that we've been in court in several cases. Yeah, and I think it's good to have a lawyer within your sports organization to be able to streamline your governance structures, to be able to even do some advice here and there, consultations, even with your sponsors, things like broadcasting rights, image rights, contracts. Yeah, those are under contract. Yeah, so those are the things that's why I'm saying we are heading into an era where sports is going to bring in money. And if you want, anywhere where there's money involved, you will need contracts. And for you to know how a contract needs to be drawn, you need a lawyer. Yes.
And of course, just before I bring Kent to share with us the situation of Kenya Basketball Federation, Dora, I don't know if you can weigh into the situation whereby KBF has not had elections. I cannot even remember the last time, I cannot remember even when they last did elections.
The last one was 2021.
Exactly. Now, recently also, you can weigh into this, the former Minister of Sports, that is Ababu Namwamba, or CS, Cabinet Secretary of Sports Ababu Namwamba, really pointed serious allegations against federations, and actually pointed out, singled out, and one of them was basketball. can you weigh into those things about, Kenya basketball hawajafanya elections hii miaka yote, alafu of course hizo zote. Yes.
Yeah, we've not done elections. We were supposed to have done elections early this year.
Yes.
Generally, for sports organizations, the term of the office bearer is supposed to be 4 years. Yes. The last time we had elections as KBF was January 2021. So regardless of what has been happening in between, by the time January 2025 came in, we should have done elections. Yeah, so as we sit, just like Okuma said, as we sit now, the term of the office bearers has already expired we are in June, by 5 months. And we still have no idea when we will have elections. You see, those are the kinds of illegalities that we are in, apart from others. But as it is now, we are within the election period, so that is what is the main focus of the fraternity now.
Ken, you are in the mix. What is the way forward in terms of federation? And looking at the federation, because I understand those in power, we have had allegations that they cook things to ensure they remain in office. Cook things in the sense that they skewer things to make sure that they wanabaki kwa hiyo ofisi. Looking at this, what future do you have for the federation, and what confidence will we put now into the stakeholders for those who will be coming into office?
Okay, first, thank you. I'd like to make a correction. I'm not in KBF, and I've never been in KBF.
Kent,
no, let me finish.
You've been directly and indirectly involved.
just because I'm a referee, he's a player, so it's KBF. So it's only that I'm passionate for this game. At times I can come to that gym, there are no referees. I will go back and drive because I know a team has spent time and money. I have a team in Division 1 and it's a self-sponsor. If I come to you today and you give me 20,000, we go to the gym and you don't play because of a referee, what do I come back and tell you? So first, I'm not in KBF.
But you're looking to be in KBF?
Yes, I'm planning to be in KBF. I'm planning to be in KBF. So yes, I was in the committee for leagues and competition.
Correct.
To make things right. And I thought, even I got a sponsor, but I said it will not make sense if Footprints has a sponsor and up there the federation and other people are not well. Let it start up. That's why I pushed that sponsorship to go to the federation. Because if once up is good, down here it becomes smooth. Then secondly, at least KBF did the election in 2021. I'll give you an example. Athletics, since the late Isaiah, they've never done an election. That is how many years ago? A lot. So these are things that, yes, I know they have their mistakes, the ups and downs, but they try. And most people will make noise till the moment they get there. You get there, you see, hey, this law was sweet in Anthony. I will not change it. I will continue using that. People talk outside. When they reach there, they become so different. We wonder, what happened? When you were with us, tulikuwa maandamano. Sasa umeingia kwa serikali, hutaki maandamano. So those are the things that matters. And what I think is just to have the constitution. Like what Dora said, she was fighting for people, for the teams. Trust you me, those teams were not there for her. And if I'm lying, she'll tell you. Steward here even wanted to go to court. When he called people to come and sign, everybody vanished. That's why I'm saying I'll blame the TM. So it has to start with us, me number one as Kent. I'll not say KBF is bad, because for the fixtures, yes, the fixtures comes out. Then later, somebody calls the fixture secretary, how are you? This weekend I'm not ready, please can you move this game? He doesn't wake up and change these games. Somebody, a team manager, changes. I know some teams, they play when they want and who they want, and at Nyayo. So those are the things that really makes things hard. So first is to have the constitution that whoever will come there has to abide. And let's have team managers or people, the stakeholders who are firm, so that if you don't do A, you go and do something that is against A, we stop you. Rugby changed because of the media. Media highlighted it, and rugby changed. But in basketball, people will come and say things are okay, they're not okay, and finished. So another person that I need to say is also the media. Media have a very important tool to help change and make it. But above all, yes, the federation needs to do, but we leave it so much to the federation. Like, I'll give another example. All federations were to say that all national teams is the government. They never look for corporates. You come, you went, then the government comes and tell you in 2-3 days that you are unable to fund, then you cry. Oh, Serikali's idea, we have to go, we'll be given a fine. We have over 138 federations. They cannot fund all those federations. So those are the things that federations should look for corporates.
Yeah,
like, now for example, the Premier Leagues. We have 12 men and 12 women. They pay 70,000 Kenyan shillings. You add that, it's almost 1.6. They are charged to use Nyayo 1 day, 28 or 30,000. 2 days, 60,000. So 2 days you've used one person's league fee. How many of these teams pay? Personally, even me, Footprints, I haven't finished paying. So if you get 10 teams, how do you pay the gym? How do you pay the venue? And we'll be the first one to come and say, refs hawajalipwa. So if me, I'm not paying my dues, how do you want that referee to be paid? I can say it has improved, because when I started reffing, we were paid 100 shillings, Tony, per game. Now they're paid 2,000 to ref only 2 games. And when you look at how much they use per game and how much they get per team, is not that much. So unless with the corporate, we can't run away from it. Even if today my friend Stewart becomes the president, if we don't have corporate, we can't move. The little money they get, yes, they need to account. They need to show people, this is what we do. Because at times people, they keep quiet. Then if I see you driving, I think, ile lipe tunalipa league fee. Because you know, drive, but you ni bidi yako, ama ni gari ulipewa. So those are the things that we need. That's why I said we need to move together. We don't say the federation. We are the federation. Me, Stewart, we are the federation. True. Those we just mandate them to run on our behalf. But as we remove that responsibility and keep it quiet.
Now I have 5 minutes for Okumu and Dora. Okumu, in Morocco, I'm just giving an example. In Morocco, like the football, where they are right now is because of the public-private partnerships.
Yes, yes.
I was at their sports complex that houses national teams, and they have. It's actually a self-contained, exclusive facility, from restaurants, from garages to hospitals to gyms to pitches, everything, plus an indoor football facility, the only one in Africa. Just what Kent is saying, private-public partnership. KBF wanategemea serikali kuanzia A mpaka X. Wacha nimewachie Z huko ziongeza zingine huko.
Tony,
going forward, I mean, one solution in 2 minutes.
What I can say, I'll be brief on that because there is an art of escapism in our system. And I'll say, once we become transparent in all our dealings, we shall attract those investors. We shall attract. Kenya is a big country. On matter sports, Kenya has produced very many people. I remember when Masai Ujiri came to Kenya, in Kenya here. They came with Obama, they went to Sauti Kuu. And I want Ken to go back to Sauti Kuu in Siaya and see, because he was part of whatever that happened there, and see what has existed since that time. And I thank so much a man called Abel Son and Peter Kiganya. They really pushed for something to be done in Kenya here by the president of the US then, Barack Obama. And indeed they did something, and they remembered basketball. Kenya was taking shape from grassroots. But the transparency part, which Kent has tried to really clarify here on matters of payment and everything, why can they come out clear? They have never come out clear with them. Thanks to TV47, you are trying to amplify sports in this country. And I can say I was watching a game of BAL that is going on in South Africa, where those teams have reached. Kenya is headed there. With proper structures, we can get there. Thunder has shown us the way. Yes. They are trying. Yes, however, they need also to be backed up by clear structures and systems. I want to say that our progress categorically needs that part of you do as it is required, not confiding into anything fishy, and then maybe it is not even that. We start speculating. These guys, Kenta said, ametumia pesa yetu ndio ile ana drive. Maybe it is not even that, but simply because they don't come out clear to tell us this is what is happening, we are not in the know. I can tell you for free today, I am a businessman. I'll only be attracted to you if I find that you are honest. But if your honesty is compromised, then I'll not really even be interested in you. There are good people still in this country. There are people who are able to do things the right way. Not that the system is rogged. Even in that federation, we still have good people there. In fact, they are very good people, but they should just come out clear in honesty and tell us this is what is happening. We don't even have any issue with them. We don't want to crucify them, but we want to be told the truth of what is happening there. That is what has eaten us. Mimi siku ile wataniambia ukweli Bwana Tony, utaisikia sauti yangu. But until when they say that, in fact on Monday I'm starting off with them.
On Monday, Kenya Basketball Federation, wekeni G4S kwa mlango. Umbwa kali. Of course, yeah. But of course, accountability is very key. That's of course why other nations are really shining. 2 minutes.
Maybe before I finish. You know Rwanda?
Dora kuna 2 minutes. Unakula kwa time ya Dora.
It's okay.
Sema hiyo moja.
You know Rwanda, the president started coming into the gym simply because they started showing up that they are straight. And indeed, nowadays, Paul Kagame goes to the matches. You can see the facility that Rwanda has specifically for basketball.
We want President William Ruto to also go to the gym at Nyayo to watch basketball.
Yes.
To feel the facilities that he has.
Yes.
Dora, what forward? I mean, in 2 minutes, what is the way forward for basketball?
The way forward, just to top up.
Yes.
Transparency, accountability, not just for the top federation. Can our players, can our TMs hold the federation accountable? Yes, they can only hold the federation accountable if themselves have done what is required. And they know what they need to do. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Clubs, players, stakeholders in basketball, you also have a responsibility to put KBF on the spot, because KBF is not someone on Jupiter or in Mars. They are there with you. There are people you elected. There are people who gave responsibility. So if you want them out, you know the mechanisms. Of course, Dora knows there are mechanisms to ensure that people are brought to accountability. But tafadhali KBF, we know basketball is big. Personally, I've played basketball all the way from primary school till college. But after college, niliona hakuna matumaini. Nikarudi kwa TV, nifanye kazi. But there is hope because NBA has seen it, and that's why they've set up an office here. They're doing a job that we should basically be doing. But let's learn from them now that they're here so we can improve the game. So thank you very much, Kent Juma, really, for making time for our show. Steward Okumu, asante sana. And of course, Lawyer Dora Ouko, thank you so much. And in this conversation, you can have it for 10 hours or 10 years, non-stop. But of course, we'll continue engaging in basketball to ensure, of course, we bring basketball to where it is. And well done to the teams that are actually making basketball flourish in Kenya. This is Sports Extravaganza. My name is Tony Kwalanda. I was about to call myself a name that I was given in Morocco. We shall, of course, be taking a very, very short break. But just after the break, we shall be having a team that will be representing Kenya in powerlifting championship and also, of course, football. So don't go away. Stick around. We'll be back after this short break.